Welcome to the mobile home movement, where we showcase the beauty and affordability of mobile homes. Here we break false myths and share all the positive stories of how mobile home ownership transforms lives. I'm Franco Perez, and this is the Mobile Home Movement. What's up, guys? Thank you for watching. Today we have a very important guest. This person is well connected in the manufactured housing industry and very involved in putting together events around the factory-built housing industry as well. He's also the director of CRM for MHCRM. This is Scott Stroud. So thank you for being here, Scott.
It's my pleasure, Frankie. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks a lot. I know your time is valuable. So if we could just start and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the manufactured housing space.
As you mentioned, I've worked with the CRMs, with contact management, and that comes from a long history of marketing homes, marketing, which led from a long history of selling homes. So I got in like from the ground floor and have focused on contact management and automating the sales process in my recent, hopefully last part of my career. But I got started in it as a builder. I was swinging a hammer on a framing crew when I was just out of high school, and then started building and selling actually log homes. And I did log homes for about 25 years. And there's a lot of factory components built, from log homes. So, I started building them and ended up vice president of marketing and sales for the company that I had represented for so long.
Wow.
And, those component type homes, offsite construction, a lot of it introduced me to modular construction and panelized construction and manufactured housing, which are all basically the same, the same things. They build to different codes, but it's offsite construction where you're putting so much of the house together and getting the efficiency of a factory type or a plant type assembly, and then moving it in pieces, in larger pieces to a job site. And so that's where we are today. I work with a lot of manufactured housing companies, a lot of modular housing companies, and it's just really awesome to see where the industry's going right now.
Yeah, it totally is. For me, it's the most exciting time into this space, if you ask me. We definitely want to get into why factory built housing is such an important factor, and how big is this industry? Why is it now that it's becoming more and more popular? Could you speak on that a bit?
Yeah, and those are different facets of the same question. What is it really? 10 years ago, people were asking why manufactured housing? Why don't we just build houses like we always built houses? And now people are coming up saying, why are we still building houses the way we have always built houses? Why aren't we, taking these economies of scale and production? I mean, what else? I mean, you look around your office, your home, reach in your pocket. How many of those things did you build piece by piece? Your phone, your car, your watch, everything's built in a factory because it's the best way to build it.
Absolutely.
Except, the rest of the world understands this. Yeah. There in a couple of weeks or in late April, there's going to be a conference in Phoenix, Arizona, World of Modular.
Yes.
Now, World of Modular is all about offsite construction, the same as manufactured housing, same as modular housing here. But this is a global perspective. These are companies from around the world, from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, that are building. I mean, that's the way buildings, hospitals, homes, everything is built. It's all built taking advantage of the efficiency of a plant or production style.
Absolutely. And I see more and more I see the importance of this in so many different facets as well, especially with labor shortages, with material shortages. And it's only a bigger need because we don't have enough resources to build these homes. And now people are starting to realize how big of how much we actually need to transition to factory built housing and how much it can help our biggest needs.
And you're right. People are only now, when the need is overwhelming, are they seeing, well, yeah, factory built can solve a lot of these problems. And you talk about the great need. First of all, the need that's driving everything is the need for more homes. I mean, we are grossly underhoused in the United States, and we're running out. The inventory that we have is depreciating faster than we're currently rebuilding it. Yeah. And some of the issues that you just brought up, our labor, because people aren't going into construction, they're going into construction science, maybe construction theory, which leads to a more production type environment. But they're not, you don't see laborers that are learning how to frame houses and hammer nails, and saw, one piece at a time. The way houses have always been built in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So there's that. There's attitudes. Why aren't people going into that? Well, there's a labor shortage. There's all kinds of jobs that they can get that are better paying, in many cases, and that don't require that strong physical, exertion and physical labor. There's still some people that like to go outside and, work outside and work hard all day, but you know what? There's too much competition for those people right now. Younger people. Let's talk about the millennials, Gen Z. Priorities have changed. What the current or the new workforce wants out of a job has changed. How do I want to spend my days?
Exactly.
And it's not it's not in a physical construction, on a construction site with dirty and grimy and sweaty, and the danger that's involved. Instead, they're looking at things practically and saying, why are houses built that way? I would love to build houses, but let's do it in a more efficient way, like everything else that you do.
Yeah.
So it's we're seeing this paradigm shift. That's also it's a culture shift.
Absolutely.
that is just going to eliminate or greatly reduce the number of people who are willing to build a house piece by piece.
100%. And I see that. And you pointed out something that I've always told people is like, hey, back in the day when people were young, it's an exciting thing to go out and be a contractor or a laborer because that was an exciting job back then. But nowadays, the younger generations, nobody's excited to become a contractor. Nobody, it's very rare. Everyone's chasing the tech jobs and working remotes and not having to do any hard labor. And that's kind of where the world I see is going. And it's so important that we optimize the resources that we have now to really be able to pump out as many homes as we can in a way. And factories are doing that. And, things are changing and we need a better way to build these, just like you mentioned.
It's imperative that we find that for everybody's sake. I mean, not just for the sake of the people who truly need the homes, but for the people who are looking for a lifetime career doing something that is important and gratifying, and fulfilling. Yeah. You and I were both at a conference recently. And maybe you heard the same thing I heard, where we had a panel of manufacturers talking about the labor shortage, and one of the manufacturers said, "Oh, it's these young people, they just don't want to work."
Yes, yes.
And there was all these old people that applauded that,
I
right? Yeah. Well, I work with two young men, and two young ladies. Okay, so I work with this team that are from 22 to 26,
yeah,
and they looked at each other and went, "That's not, that's ridiculous." And I know that's ridiculous because
me too.
these young people, they love. I mean, they work. I can rely on these people. They're not lazy.
Yeah.
They're not lazy. They just are looking they just look at things at the old standard processes more critically, don't you? I mean,
Yeah.
are you looking at it saying, here you are looking at it and saying, why are they still building houses that way? Hasn't anybody told them?
Exactly.
Oh,
Actually, I wanted to speak on that too, because when we were at that discussion, there's a lot of different mindsets around how they should be built. And I was after that discussion, I was like, what is your opinion really? It's like, it's almost like there's a lot of factory owners and that sort of thing that's all about keeping stuff boring and simple and just streamlined of pumping them out and almost low innovation. And then there's other big entities that are really pushing that innovation and making things exciting. And that's, at least for my company, in the mobile home space, we have a balance of both. But I do feel that it's very important that we continuously innovate and keep this exciting to get the attention around this so that people understand how important this is. And what are your thoughts on that? For you, Scott?
so I grew up at a time when the expression was coined, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And I was like, well, that's pretty complacent. But then I adopted the mindset: if it ain't broke, break it. How are you going to innovate if it's not broken? I mean, in other words, if it's working, well, yeah, let's make it better. You're not saying that everything's optimized.
You're going to like this quote that Mark Zuckerberg said, and I'm going to butcher it because I know I'm not saying it right, but he says, if you're not breaking things, then you're not working fast enough, or you're not innovating fast enough. So if you're not, and it's the complete opposite of that, or like kind of to what you were getting to.
So I think we're entering the age of innovation. Some would argue that we've been in it for a while, but when it comes to housing, we haven't. All the innovations in housing that I've seen over the last 20 years have come from the offsite construction, the factory built construction industry, because those are the people, and there have been people probably all along. You've seen these innovators, and they've been, they know each other, they know who they are, and so we've had this modular this modular home industry, and we've had manufactured home industry, and we've had the innovations that have taken place. But now that the age of innovation has finally hit housing. I was at the International Builders Show in February, and we hadn't had that show in 2 years because of COVID. Well, 2 years ago, I was there. I was working with the building systems councils, which represent modular, panelized, different methodologies of offsite construction. And I've been working with that group since the late 90s, right? For 25 years. And there was really not much interest, just like always. It was just a few people that had been involved, and it was kind of, we wink and we understand, we know what's going on, right? And the rest of the builders did. And this year, we were overwhelmed. Builders who had never thought before about offsite construction, about construction technology, and about innovation, they're here. Why? Because they don't have any crews anymore.
Yeah.
And now, with labor or with the supply shortages, they're trying to build a house, but it's taken them 30 months to build a house that they used to build in 7 months.
Exactly.
And they're going, and they finally realize that one house at a time does that not give them any clout when they go to the lumber company and said, I need a lumber package. Well, hey, Joe just bought 10, right? So you're going to have to wait in line till I service him.
Exactly.
So it's that kind of thing. And so now when you've got the production lines that you have, not only do you have the efficiencies that go into a production line and the flexibilities that come with that, but now you have the purchasing power.
Yep.
When you're doing multiple units, I mean, there's so many reasons why the industry needs to move this way, and it will, kicking and screaming, some of them, but that's where it's got to go.
Yeah. So where do you see the factory built construction in about 3 to 5 years? And my next question after that is, what do you feel is important for us to be able to grow that industry in the next 3 to 5 years too? Okay,
so 3 to 5 years really is not a long term. That's not that long. I mean, it takes, sometimes, I mean, there are plans that take 3 to 5 years to get developed and put through, that we might see then. But 3 to 5 years ago, we saw the industry being fairly stable and not a lot of growth. Now we're seeing that growth start to uptick. I think it's going to continue to increase. I think every step we take, every success that we have, every builder we convert into a factory built builder or a systems builder is going to increase and escalate that growth. So I see it continuing to climb. At the same time, boy, in the next 3 to 5 years, I think innovation is really going to be key to the construction industry. I think that right now people are looking at the way we've built houses, and we've been just talking about the method. The difference between offsite and on-site construction is just where it's built. But now you're going to start looking at things like the materials that go into it. We've seen these supply chains falter. And so I think that we're going to start finding alternative building products, not just methods, but products. I read an article today on Gary Fleischer's blog, a modular home blog, about where the big bottlenecks are in manufacturing and in producing a home in a factory. And in terms of time, and he just said drywall. You got to put drywall up, gypsum, and then you got to finish it, and you got to wait for it to dry. And then you got to sand it, and then you got to put a second coat on. And you got to do all this before it's painted and shipped. Why are we using gypsum? Why are we using these materials when we can come up with a replacement material that will eliminate that bottleneck, that time waste, and go through it? So I think that's where you're going to see a lot of innovation take place in the actual materials that we're using.
Absolutely.
And as those take place with labor, I think another thing that needs to take place in the next 3 to 5 years is an outreach from factories, those factories to the plants where homes are built, to change their mindset and start embracing innovative cultures that embrace workers and create environments where people want to come to work. The same way that we've seen other industries do that. The tech industry, even the automobile industry. They're changing the way the worker environment and the worker experience so that they can attract new people. So these are the things that need to take place in the short term.
Gotcha.
Long term, is a wonderful prospect.
Yes. I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about kind of the whole affordable housing and mainly around metro areas. The stigma around mobile home parks, mobile homes, and the importance of that, because a huge part of these factory built housing, their clientele is still in parks. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of having mobile home parks as well? I know you kind of in that space as well too.
Yeah. So the typical manufactured housing community,
Yes.
and internally we know those as land lease communities where the tenants are going to come in, or the residents are going to own their home in most cases. And there's more. I mean, there's rental communities too, but typically it's own your own home, but you lease the land that it's on.
Correct.
Just like in a condo, you own the condo, but you don't own the land. So
for us to kind of add to it is like trying to express to people that, hey, there's a lot of people out here with a big gap. At least here in San Jose, you're either renting at $3,500 a month, or you buy something at 1.7 million. And we've found that in these communities, it's a perfect stepping stone for people to get that start piece of ownership when they can't afford that $1.7 million home, especially with the inventory today. And
it is. And because land is such a big part of the cost of any home.
Yeah.
The land lease community where you can own the home, that's your home, and you can do with it, as you will. You've got that pride of ownership, but that huge component of land is leased. And so now you're paying just a fractional amount per month, on that makes it affordable.
Absolutely.
And that will always be the case. And I think you're going to see more rental communities that way. And we're already seeing people that were never renting before now coming back and renting units, particularly some of the older units, until they're being replaced with newer units that people don't. So that's taking place. And you're right, it serves, renting has always served a great purpose, and there's so many people that can't purchase yet, but would like to, or a growing number of people that they just rather rent than own because of the flexibility of being able to move and pick up and move somewhere else. So those communities are going to be there. But I also want to talk about conventional neighborhoods that are being built with manufactured product rather than site-built product. And that is an exciting option because we're finding, particularly for starter homes, for first homes, or for retirement homes and those kind of communities where it's not huge houses, we're finding that the manufactured home can be put on that land and finished out in such a way that you never realize it's a manufactured house, which is the case in most houses. When you go into a manufactured home, it's only the way it looks on the outside. If you know what to look for, on the homes that are being built today. But these whole developments that are being built that way, and the savings actually passed on. I mean, there's some builders that are pocketing the difference because it's a considerable difference in cost from a manufactured to the very exact same home, site built.
Exactly.
But they're passing that savings on to their customer, and they're thriving.
Exactly. And is there anything that you feel you wish more people knew about these factory built homes at all?
Yeah, I do. I wish that the perception of a mobile home that people in their 40s and 50s maybe have and come by it rightly. I mean, we've all seen those parks. Whenever there's a storm, where's the news crew go, right? There's a tornado that's coming through, a hurricane. Let's go to the next. Let's go see how many mobile homes blew, right? Right. And in fact, there has not been a mobile home built or manufactured since 1976, when the codes changed. The homes that are being built today are every bit as good, if not better, than the most current builder, site-built home. They are built with such standards of quality, of construction, of durability, that we've got to get, you got to go experience them. If Anybody who's listening, if they've never been in a new manufactured home, then go look at them. Just go look at them. If you're in the market for a home, check this out first.
Yeah. And that's part why we built this podcast, and also why we do a lot of YouTube videos around these communities too, and around the homes, is because we do fight this stigma that Hollywood and the news makes this industry kind of have that bad image of like trailer trash mentality. But the truth is, you go into some of these parks, it's like resort living. It's like retirement dreamland. Like, and people don't actually, it's not just the home itself, it's the communities, the neighborhoods, the people, and the lifestyle. And we talked about generations as well. Here in San Jose, you have a lot of tech millennials that love living here because it's so close to Samsung, Google, and they have their own amenities like like a swimming pool, a spa, sauna, and all these things you don't have to take care of, that's included in that land lease. And we are working so hard to help people understand and really spend the time to just drive through one of these communities and tell me that you think that it's anything that the media portrays. And I feel like there's something that needs to be done. I don't know if you have input on this to really get people's mindsets around it, you know?
Well, we're working hard to do that. Within the company where I am, I'm one of the divisions. We've got a new division called Learn MH.
Yeah.
And it's all about learning and teaching the not just the industry, but the consumer industry. For example, planning and zoning officials, they need to be able to see, they need to know what type of homes are being built today and shipped, that they're still calling a mobile home, a manufactured home, whether it's a single section or more. So, and you made reference to the issues that cities are having, with finding the right homes, particularly with urban infill. These houses can be set so quickly and so easily.
And one thing I want to add is less reliability on permits and paperwork.
Oh yeah. Well,
because the government and timing that can delay projects for months, and that's one thing.
That's when you get into cities where there's a lot of that. So we're educating people. Learn MH is a place where the mayors, city councils, code officials, inspectors, they can come and get real information that is often eye-opening. And if they have questions, they need to find experts or resources. Well, we'll put them in touch with the right people. So those are some of the things that we're doing from the inside to try to facilitate that growth and overcome some of those stigmas.
I love that you guys are doing that, because I feel like we need more people like you guys to really help educate people about this industry. In the back end, I feel this industry is in a way ran by a lot of old school traditional businesses, and we need more and more innovators and more people that are willing to add creativity in education, in marketing, and even just explaining how these works, and the VR industry as well, and video and photos and all these things that really help broadcast our message. So, but yeah, I know we're running at the end of our time here, but anything that you feel to end on this as far as a message that you'd like to share about this industry itself? And
I would, well, let me just reach out directly to the people that might be listening to this and thinking, man, someday I just want a home. Don't give up. Don't give up on that, and keep pursuing it and keep researching it and keep working toward that. Don't give up on that goal, because what I'm seeing, you're right, the bunch of old people that have been running this industry for so long, they're being replaced, and they're being replaced with new with innovative processes, with people who are committed to still to the American dream of home ownership, to making a home available to anyone who wants one.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the industry is getting back to. That's where it started. And we kind of lost our way in the 70s and 80s, but my goodness, where I'm seeing a coalition of thought today in the industry, even with some of the old farts like me, right? That have been in it. And I don't know if you can tell, I should really be more passionate about this, I guess. But it's a wonderful time to see this this turn toward where we need to be in order to meet the demands and the growth and the market that's just right now and that will be emerging in the next 10 years.
Absolutely. And you touched on something that I'm actually very passionate about. And you're right, this is the American dream of home ownership. And there's a lot of people that don't have that home ownership availability to them. And what we're not just building is, we're not just building houses, but we're building opportunities for people to get themselves in a better position, for people to get out of that renting phase, for people to have better personal cash flow. And I love to remind people that it's not just a home, but it's something that can help get your family ahead to the next step, right? And building more of available affordable housing is such an important thing, especially from like my background of renting and being stuck in that rent cycle. We need more stepping stones for people to get out of that rent cycle and into home ownership. And with low inventory of homes, it's only harder and harder for those people that need it.
Yeah, breaking that cycle. I mean, it's, there are in the past, when it's been really, really necessary, you've seen government programs that would work with first-time homeowners and first-time home buyers. And I think you're going to see more of that now because we want everybody, to be in the home. The statistics on, the stability of families when they're in their own homes, the happiness, the health, the mental health, all these, everything points toward the efficacy and the desirability and the really need for people to be in a home, for families to have homes. And when they do, things go well. When they don't, and they're, then there's that lack of stability.
Exactly. Well, wanted to thank you for being here, man. It's such a pleasure having you here. And actually, I'm sure we'll probably even have you on another topic again sometime. So
thank you for joining the Mobile Home Movement. Join us each Wednesday at 10 a.m. PST for new episodes. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and we love those 5-star ratings.